Hi, I'm Dr. Brian Wambua. I'm a clinician and also a human anatomist. Welcome to this channel where we'll be reviewing how to prepare for anatomy marathon exam in terms of histology questions, embryology questions, and gross anatomy questions. I hope that you'll be able to follow through and be able to learn as much as possible. Thank you. Okay. So welcome to the anatomy marathon examination preparation video. So this is a picture showing the hemi pelvis. So basically the sacrum is not there, but what you can see is the hip bone. So this is the forceps. So you have the forceps here pointing towards the acetabulum. Okay, so you have the acetabular lunate there, you have the acetabular fossa there, and this area here is the acetabular notch. So those are the three parts of the acetabulum. Now the joint that is formed is the hip joint, and we classify it as a synovial joint of ball and socket variety, which moves in multi-axial planes. So if you're asked to classify the joint, you basically classify it as a synovial joint of ball and socket variety that is multi-axial. Now we move to the second question. So here you can be able to see a picture of the cranium. So if the mandible was there, we'd call it the skull. So the skull is the cranium plus the mandible. Now here what you have is the cranium, and the forceps is pointing towards, so the forceps here is pointing towards the mastoid process. Now the mastoid process basically will have two muscles that attach to it primarily. We'll have the sternocleidomastoid and the longissimus capitis. So the cranial end of the longissimus capitis will attach there. The blood supply will be by the occipital artery and the posterior auricular artery. So this is a picture showing you the internal structure of the heart. So you are seeing the ventricle. What you are seeing here, these are your trabeculi of the ventricle. So the part labeled B, that is the papillary muscle. The part labeled C is the chorda tendini. So those will be below the part labeled A, which is the valve. So you have the valve here, the part labeled A. You have the chorda tendini, which are these strings that attach the cusps of the valve to the papillary muscle, which is part of the ventricular wall. So it attaches the ventricular wall. Ideally, the chorda tendini and the papillary muscle together are known as the subvalvular apparatus because they are below the valve. Now the location of the sinoatrial node and the atrioventricular node will be, first, the sinoatrial node is found at the junction of the superior vena cava and the right atrium on the posteromedial aspect, and the atrioventricular node is found at the triangle of Koch. So you will read about the triangle of Koch, look at the boundaries, and look at nice images on your Google search, and you'll be able to see the triangle of Koch, because I cannot be able to show it unfortunately on this image. So this is now histology, okay, or microscopic anatomy, and basically this is what you will be able to see during an examination. So this is a microscopic slide of the thyroid gland. So what you are seeing here, this is a thyroid follicle, or what we call the colloid or the thyroglobulin. Now you can see around this colloid here, around the colloid here, you're able to see your follicular cells, okay, and then between your follicles, these cells here, so the cells that are between the follicles, those cells are known as the parafollicular cells. So the parafollicular cells will produce calcitonin. The follicular cells will be able to produce your triiodothyronine and your tetraiodothyronine, or T3 and T4 respectively. So this is radiological anatomy. So you have the aorta there. So the part labeled A will be the ascending part of the aorta. The part labeled B will be the brachiocephalic trunk, which branches into the right subclavian and the right common carotid. Then you have the part labeled C being the left common carotid, the part labeled D being your left subclavian artery, and the part labeled E being the descending thoracic aorta. So basically you have, this is the arc of the aorta, and so you have branches from the arc of the aorta. So you have your brachiocephalic trunk, you have your left common carotid, your left subclavian. Brachiocephalic divides into the right subclavian and the right common carotid. Okay. So this is a picture showing you embryological anatomy. Okay. So basically what you have are congenital anomalies or defects of the anterior abdominal wall. So part labeled A, you can see this anomaly is centered. Okay. So you can see the cord there. Okay, and amniotic membrane. So this is omphalocele. Then the part labeled B, you can see the cord here, and then paramedian, you have the intestines, the coils of the intestines which are not covered by amniotic cavity. So we call that gastroschisis. Okay, so they are both defects of the anterior abdominal wall. Now here you have a picture of the brain. So this is your cerebrum, then you have your cerebellum, and you have your brainstem. So those three parts make up the brain, and the cerebrum is organized into lobes. So you have your part labeled A being your frontal lobe, the part labeled B being the occipital lobe, the part labeled C being the temporal lobe. So you are asked for two functions of A, which is the frontal lobe, and these two actions will include: one, cognitive functions because of the prefrontal cortex, which is here. So the cognitive functions are mental abilities. So here, decision making, judgment, reasoning, intelligence, fund of knowledge. And when you look at this part, this is the area on the left side, majorly what we call Broca's area for motor speech. Then you have this area here for primary motor area, which is for initiation and control of voluntary motor activity. There is another area here for the frontal eye field area. That is the area that controls conjugate gaze on a horizontal plane. So the frontal lobe has many functions, okay? And on the next video, we may be able to go deeper into them. Now, this is a picture of the base of the brain. So you can be able to see the cerebellum and the brainstem clearly. So the part labeled A, that is the hemisphere of the cerebellum. The part labeled B is the pyramids of the medulla oblongata. And the part labeled C is the ventral pons. So here you can be able to see the basilar artery there. Okay, and so this is part of the ventral pons. So you are asked for two reflexes mediated at the part labeled C, which is the pons. So at the pons, you have the micturition reflex, you have the corneal reflex, you have the Georgiak reflex, and a myriad of other reflexes. So